The mid-range flagship segment. Now, that's a weird one. A phone with specs rivaling flagships from Samsung and Apple at a much cheaper price. Now, traditionally, this is a segment that OnePlus has absolutely dominated in India, if not globally. Right now, though, there is one strong contender to that throne in the form of Huawei's Honor View 10. So, which of these phones should you pick up? Well, let's find out in today's video. But before we do, if this is your first time here or in case you just can't remember, here's an honorable reminder, OnePlus time. My name's Ash, you're watching C4E Tech, and this is our full comparison of the Honor View 10 with the OnePlus 5T. Now before we start, if you like giveaways, well, we currently are running one, so do check that out. And if you do end up liking this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and tap that bell icon to join our notification squad. Let's start with a build. Now both phones are built out of metal but feel different in hand. There are things I like about each one. Now let's start with the 5T. The curved back makes it feel slimmer than it actually is. In fact, it's the thicker of the two but doesn't feel that way. It's lighter too by about 10 grams. The matte black finish is also something I've always appreciated. Additionally, sweet offerings like this Lava Red edition and of course the much beloved Star Wars editions are options too. On the other hand, with the View 10, the blue variant is something we don't see all that often and looks cool. Especially the kind of reflections the front catches gives the View 10 a very eye-catchy look. That said, I'm not a fan of these protruding cameras. The 5T also has a camera hump, but the one on the View 10 is a bit more prominent. Barring these differences, both phones feel premium, the build quality is excellent. So who wins this? So with no obvious cons and the build quality being on par, I'm gonna have to leave this one to you guys depending on what looks better to you. So you get to pick, here's a poll, so let us know so that others can get an idea of what the majority likes. Next up, let's talk about the display. Both phones sport similar sized displays. The OnePlus 5T has 6.01-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED panel that's covered by Gorilla Glass. The View 10 a 5.99-inch Full HD Plus IPS LCD panel. Honor doesn't mention the glass used for protection. Now, I love AMOLED panels. They're punchy, they make for some screen-on functions which don't have a huge effect on battery life. So taking all that into account, I'm gonna give this to the 5T despite the View 10 having a perfectly good display with excellent viewing angles and great brightness levels. On that note, let's now move on and talk about specs. And here's where things get interesting. The 5T sports the Snapdragon 835 chip, the current flagship Qualcomm chip that you can find on almost any major flagship. It also comes with an 8GB RAM option. The View 10, on the other hand, sports a homegrown Kirin 970 chip with AI capabilities. There's only a 6GB RAM option. Now, we did have a speed test to which I'll leave a card to, and the results were very close. The View 10 won the light usage round, while the 5T won when it came to intense usage. Both were very narrow margins. The 5T was a little faster at launching games, while the View 10 was amazing when it came to CPU intensive tasks like rendering. Now that shouldn't be a surprise given that the predecessor to the Kirin 970 on the View 10, the Kirin 960 on the Honor 8 Pro outperformed the Snapdragon 835 when it came to CPU intensive tasks. That said, the Snapdragon 835's Adreno GPU outperforms its Mali G72 counterpart on the View 10. So theoretically, long story short, View 10 powerful CPU, OnePlus 5T powerful GPU. Practically though, both phones are rapid fast and there is no way you're gonna be noticing one being faster than the other unless you nitpick and compare them side by side like we did. We do things like that. Anyway, again, this one's a tie. With large displays and stellar chips underneath, there's the question on how the battery fares. And here's where the View 10 shines. It's got a 3750 mAh battery compared to the 5T's 3300 mAh battery. The battery life on the View 10 here is about 10 or 15% better than what you get with the 5T. The 5T though does have support for dash charge and can top up your battery really fast. The View 10 also supports Huawei's Supercharge. Sadly, the supercharger isn't included in the box in India, but given the superior battery life, I still feel the View 10 holds an edge. And I'm gonna give this one to the View 10. Now, for the next round, Let's look at the sundries, the add-ons. The OnePlus 5T has the alert slider that we all love, but the View 10 again shines bright. It offers an IR blaster to control appliances around the house. It also has support for micro SD in the form of a hybrid slot, which is something OnePlus has always lacked, barring the one that shouldn't be mentioned, the OnePlus X. Anyway, barring both these phones are quite evenly matched, so again, advantage View 10 here. And with that, let's get to the cameras. The Honor View 10 has a 20 megapixel monochrome plus 16 megapixel RGB sensor setup. The OnePlus 5T has 16 plus 20 megapixels to the back. Under good lighting conditions, the 5T's images turned out to be a lot sharper. Here the texture of the bark of the tree looks crispier on the image shot with the 5T. Color reproduction is almost equally good. Some of you might prefer the punchier colors on the View 10. At times, it does shoot images that have a little bit more contrast than they probably should. Now, the dynamic range is more or less similar across both phones. Images shot with both phones, and cameras on both phones have lenses with really wide apertures. f1.7 on the 5T's cameras, f1.8 on the View 10's cameras, hence the strong bokeh. Speaking of bokeh, we have portrait mode on the 5T and the wide aperture mode on the View 10. Both phones do struggle a bit with edge detection, but for the most part, they shoot decent portraits. It's worth mentioning that you can change the blur strength before or even after clicking the picture on the View 10. Both Huawei and OnePlus claim that their phones can deliver good results even if you zoom in. Neither offers any optical zoom, so don't expect much from these images. However, I did find the zoomed in images to be slightly better than cropped in images thanks to the respective software algorithms. That's something I thought you'd find interesting. Now, Huawei uses AI thanks to the 970 chip, but the results are quite similar, meaning I would definitely prefer an optical solution here. OnePlus, if you're listening, I'd really like that OnePlus 5's camera back. Anyway, moving on. Under low light, the View 10 shoots images that are a tad sharper with less noise. But here, overall, the photos clicked by the 5T are brighter and better. Same goes with this image here again. The View 10 does quite match the 5T in moderately lit scenes like this. But when it's too dark, the 5T does get brighter results. And I wasn't just happy with that. I wanted to see why it gets brighter results. And while we dug in a little deeper, we found out that the 5T can crank the ISO up to 9600, whereas the View 10 restricts it to around 4000. Now, coming around to the front, both phones can shoot some really super sharp selfies. The images have a ton of detail. Now, what sets the View 10's selfie camera apart? It does get a little edge here. What sets it apart is, number one, the portrait mode. The selfies turned out excellent here. The background blur is fairly natural. The edge detection is surprisingly accurate. Even the ears are in focus. And then number two, some Snapchatty features which turned out really well given the dedicated AI hardware. You can even change the background. It is not perfect, but definitely far from unusable. As far as video goes, both phones can shoot 4K at 30 frames per second. The 5T hits right back here with super stable footage thanks to EIS. That is also the reason why it is cropped in a little bit. The View 10 does not have any EIS or OIS. Even with the latest update, there's nothing. We did check. So both clips are almost equally sharp. The dynamic range is noticeably better on the clip shot with the 5T. The trees look brighter. The colors too look more natural and true to life. It is also worth mentioning that the View 10 does hunt for focus once in a while. It doesn't really affect the overall quality, but again, something worth mentioning. The View 10 also happens to have a video pro mode, but the options are quite limited and can only be tinkered around with before you begin shooting the video. So +1 to OnePlus for camera performance. Now with that, let's talk software. And again, things kind of do get really interesting here. On one hand, the Honor View 10 runs on MUI 8.0 that's based on Android Oreo out of the box. This means that there is Project Treble support baked in. Will this translate to faster updates for the Honor phone? Well, that's something only time will tell. But for now, View 10 has a slight edge with the OnePlus 5T still stuck on Android Nougat, although Oreo seems to be just around the corner. As far as visuals go, the two interfaces couldn't be more different. The 5T is running on Oxygen OS, which is closer to stock Android, while Huawei has their own custom skin with MUI. Both of them though are fast and snappy in day-to-day usage, so it all boils down to the features. Well, OnePlus does boast of a few nifty features like face unlock, customizable navigation keys, as well as gestures. with the latest update, the View 10 goes toe-to-toe with Face Unlock on top of adding a multitude of gesture support. The NPU or Neural Processing Unit, the one that makes it shine with regards to AI capabilities, where the NPU in the View 10, where it shines is through the nifty little features like intelligent rotation control and the lock screen that displays notifications only if it recognizes your face. Now, despite all of what the View 10 brings to the table, I can understand how some would like the cleaner and more stockish Oxygen OS. So again, I'm gonna go to poll here. This is personal preference. What do you want? Do you want the cleaner, more stockish Oxygen OS, or do you want the feature-packed MUI 8.0? Let us know. And now, let's get to price. Here there's gonna be no poll. This one's a no-brainer. Initially, we expected the View 10 to launch at $39,999 and felt that wasn't really bad, as in it still wasn't optimal, but it wasn't blasphemous or anything. But then Huawei kind of surprised us all by launching it at $29,999. Note that the View 10 is available in only one variant, 6 gigs of RAM, but with 128 gigs of storage. At this price, it's even 3,000 rupees cheaper than the 64 gig variant of the OnePlus 5T and a whole 8,000 rupees cheaper than the 128 gig variant of the OnePlus 5T. The extra 2 gigs of RAM doesn't really do much, at least not today, not before the processor, the CPU. The SoC gets outdated, so that's not really a big deal breaker. So I'm gonna go with the Honor View 10 as the outright winner when it comes to price to performance. So conclusion time, the OnePlus 5T follows OnePlus's tradition of bringing in excellent hardware for an excellent price. It's amazing, it's fast, it's snappy, it's got great optics, but Honor's got quite a few things right too with this View 10. An equally fast performer, yes, it does lose out on cameras, but it brings with it AI functions, better battery life, memory expansion, and more importantly, it is also a lot cheaper. So what do? If stock Android and cameras are high on your list of priorities and you don't mind paying a tad bit more, then the OnePlus 5T is a great phone that would serve you well. But if you are cool with MUI, if you are kinda liking those AI functions, those portrait selfies, better battery life, all while saving 3 to 8,000 rupees, then the View 10 is your pick. That's the one you gotta go with. It is the best value for your money. So that's it for this comparison. If you hated it, I'm pretty sure you know what to do. But if you did like it, do give this video a thumbs up, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you get notified each and every single time we upload a new video. Also show your support for your pick by commenting #Team5T or #TeamView10, and of course sharing this video with friends or family, whoever you think might be interested in these phones. One more reminder, we do have a giveaway currently running, links in the description below. Do check it out if you haven't yet. So thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this here is Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye bye.